Yeah, so my background, I was born in Pennsylvania. I spent most of my life in rural Kentucky. So I went to public school in a small Kentucky town. So obviously, most of my friends and family growing up were pretty conservative. And even the ones who were still back in Pennsylvania. I know a lot of people who are not familiar with either of these states assume that because Pennsylvania is north of the Mason-Dixon line, oh, it must be like a progressive blue state. Well, no, you have pockets, but rural Pennsylvania is very much like rural Kentucky. So, most of my family and friends growing up, excuse me, were on the right. Um, but my dad, who was probably the foremost individual influence in my life, and my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, probably a close second. They were more liberal than most. I mean, my dad had voted for President Clinton twice, President Obama the first time, then voted for Mitt Romney in round two, voted for Trump both times, said after January 6th he would never vote for Trump again or Republicans if this is going to be the flagship, if he's going to be the flag holder of the party. So, to the extent that my family was political, it really wasn't overtly political. It was just kind of like, certain values you could tell were more liberal. Like I recall being in eighth grade for President Bush's reelection, and I just, from what little I knew, I just veered towards John Kerry more. I felt that he had more credibility from the patriotic angle anyway, as a veteran and Purple Heart recipient, and I just thought that he had a more reasonable, again, platform to the extent that I understood it, as a 14, 15-year old, or 13-year old, I guess it would have been because it was 2004. But yeah, that was my background. Then I went to high school in rural Kentucky. It was pretty popular, got along with people to the extent that we had any sort of diversity in rural Kentucky. I got along well with, the few gay people in school, the few black people in school. I had four sisters growing up, so I got along really well with the opposite sex. So I think all of these experiences lent themselves well to a degree of liberalization. Went to high school, or excuse me, college, um, at the nearest university, Western Kentucky University, and went and got a political science and sociology degree because at that point I'd really been interested in, like, I was a C-SPAN junkie. I loved political fiction and stuff like that. And my plan was to get a political science degree, go to law school, practice as an attorney for 10 years, and then transition into politics full time. But I didn't end up going to law school. So